My fiancé texted, "Wedding's off, keeping the ring though." I said, "It's yours." Then I reported the $30,000 ring stolen since the receipt was in my name. Her arrest at the pawn shop made headlines. I'm 31, male, and auditor. My entire life revolves around a simple principle. Every action creates a record, and every record must eventually be reconciled. I find comfort in ledgers that balance and paper trails that tell a complete, honest story. For 5 years, I thought the story I was co-authoring with my fiancée, Sasha, 29, was one of those. It was a story of shared goals and mutual investment, culminating in a wedding that was, until last Thursday, exactly 17 days away. The centerpiece of our engagement, at least in her eyes, was the ring. A 1.5-carat, cushion-cut diamond in a platinum halo setting. It cost $29,750. I know the exact amount because I paid for it in cash from a brokerage account I'd had since I was 18. It was a significant, planned withdrawal. I have the receipt, the GIA certification, and the insurance policy all filed under my name. It was, in the precise language of the law, a conditional gift. The condition being, of course, the marriage. Last Thursday, at 2:15 p.m., my phone buzzed. It was a text from Sasha. "Hey, so I've been doing a lot of thinking and I can't go through with this. Wedding's off. Keeping the ring though. That was it. No call. No explanation. 5 years, a shared apartment, non-refundable deposits sent to a dozen vendors. All of it terminated with the casual indifference of someone canceling a magazine subscription. But it was the postscript, that flippant, entitled little addendum, that changed everything. Keeping the ring though. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. 1,000 angry replies swirled in my head. But I am an auditor. I don't act on emotion. I act on data. The data here was clear. She wasn't just breaking up with me. She was announcing her intention to commit a crime. Grand larceny, to be specific. So I replied with a single, 2-word text that would become the first entry in a new, very different kind of ledger. "It's yours." She sent back a thumbs-up emoji. She thought I was a spineless fool, a heartbroken sap who would just roll over. She miscalculated. My text wasn't a concession. It was an acknowledgement of receipt. I was confirming her stated intent. It was my Exhibit A. For 2 days, I did nothing. I let her tell her story to her friends and family. A story, I'm sure, in which I was portrayed as boring or not ambitious enough or whatever narrative suited her. I let her believe she had won. I slept on the couch, surrounded by boxes of wedding favors we were supposed to assemble. I felt the initial shock, the hollowed-out feeling of betrayal. It was a brief, necessary period of grieving for the story I thought we were writing. Then, on Saturday morning, I got up, showered, and got to work. My first call was to my insurance company. I explained the situation. They were incredibly helpful. They informed me that since I had possession of the receipt and the policy was in my name, if the ring was not returned, it would be considered a theft. My second stop was the police station. I sat down with a calm, professional detective. I presented him with a folder. Inside was the original purchase receipt, the appraisal for $30,500, the GIA certificate with the laser-inscribed serial number, and a pristine, time-stamped screenshot of our text exchange. She explicitly states her intention to keep the property after dissolving the agreement under which it was given. I explained calmly. I have made no attempt to contact her since, as my lawyer advised me that her text constitutes a refusal to return the property. I would like to file a report for theft. The detective looked through my documents, read the text, and nodded slowly. He understood. This wasn't a messy, emotional breakup dispute. This was paperwork. This was a clean, undeniable paper trail. He took my statement. A police report was filed. He told me they would enter the ring's serial number into a national database used by pawn shops and jewelers. He said, "People who do this usually get impatient. They have an expensive asset they want to liquidate. She'll surface." I walked out of the station and felt the cold, quiet hum of machinery set in motion. Sasha thinks she's walking around with a $30,000 fashion accessory. She's not. She's walking around with a piece of evidence linked to an active felony investigation. She just doesn't know it yet. The books will be balanced. It's just a matter of time. Update 1. The silence has been informative. I moved out of our shared apartment within 3 days of filing the report. The lease was in my name, so I gave the landlord 30 days notice, paid the final month, and left. Sasha came home to find my belongings gone and an eviction notice on the door. Her subsequent 58 missed calls were, I assume, unpleasant. Her mother, Corinne, has taken up the mantle of chief harasser. She's a woman who believes the world owes her daughter a comfortable existence. She left me a 2-minute voicemail that was a masterclass in narcissistic rage. You threw her out on the street. After all she did for you. She is keeping that ring, Liam, as compensation for the 5 years you wasted. Compensation. An interesting accounting term. I saved the voicemail. It's now Exhibit B, a family member confirming the intention to permanently deprive me of my property. The truly audacious part came last week. I started getting calls from our wedding vendors, the caterer, the florist, the photographer, all of them with the same story. A woman named Corinne Petrova had been calling them, claiming the wedding was off and demanding they refund the deposits. To her, she was trying to claw back my non-refundable deposits and have them sent to her personal account. The photographer, a sharp guy named Ben, was the first to alert me. Your ex-fiancée's mom just called me, he said. Tried to tell me you two had mutually decided to have me refund the $5,000 deposit to her. Sounded fishy, so I thought I'd call you. I spent 2 days calling every vendor, explaining the situation and apologizing for Corinne's behavior. I provided them with a copy of the police report number as proof that this wasn't an amicable split. Most were understanding. I've lost about $18,000 in deposits, which stings, but blocking Corinne from hijacking that money was a small, satisfying victory. It also created Exhibit C, documented evidence of attempted fraud, establishing a pattern of behavior. Yesterday, I got a call from Detective Miller, the officer handling my case. Mr. Hayes, he said, his voice all business. Just wanted to let you know, we haven't had any hits on the serial number yet, but this kind of thing is a waiting game. I did get a call from a woman claiming to be your ex-fiancée's mother. She had some very colorful things to say about you. I can imagine, I said. She demanded I drop the bogus charges. I explained to her that threatening a police officer is a felony and that this conversation was being recorded. She hung up pretty quick after that. I almost smiled. They are so used to bullying their way through life, they can't comprehend a system they can't manipulate. Sasha is still out there, living with her parents, presumably. She's been posting on social media pictures of herself out at expensive bars wearing the ring. Always the ring sparkling on her finger in every photo. She's not just wearing it, she's brandishing it. It's a trophy, a symbol of her victory. Every photo is another digital breadcrumb, another entry in the ledger. She thinks she's celebrating. In reality, she's just meticulously documenting her own crime. And the clock is ticking. Update 2. The call came on a Tuesday afternoon. I was at work, reconciling a quarterly report for a logistics company. My phone vibrated. It was Detective Miller. Mr. Hayes, he said, and I could hear a faint hint of satisfaction in his voice. We have your property. Miss Petrova is in custody. I took a slow breath. What happened? She tried to sell it, not even smart about it, walked into one of the most reputable estate jewelers in the next county over. The moment they entered the GIA number into their system, it lit up like a Christmas tree. The manager stalled her, called 911, and the local PD picked her up. Quietly. No scene. She apparently asked the officers if she could keep the box the ring came in. The sheer, unadulterated entitlement of that final detail was almost impressive. She was being arrested for felony theft and was worried about the packaging. The ring was secured as evidence. Sasha was processed and charged with grand theft, a Class D felony in our state, punishable by up to 7 years in prison. Her bail was set at $10,000. Of course, the first call she made was to Mummy. And the first call Corinne made was to me. This time, the rage was gone, replaced by a wheedling, panicked tone. Liam, you have to fix this. She cried into the phone. This is a misunderstanding. Her whole life will be ruined. Call them and tell them you made a mistake. There is no mistake, Corinne, I said, my voice flat. Sasha stole a $30,000 asset. She was arrested while trying to sell it. The only mistake was her assumption that I would finance her lifestyle after she betrayed me. But it was a gift. You texted her. You said, it's yours, she shrieked. Yes, I did. And her lawyer is welcome to present that text in court. I'm sure the judge will be very interested in the full context of that conversation, including the text that came just before it. She hung up on me. The headlines part of my original title was, I admit, a bit of an exaggeration. It wasn't on the 6 o'clock news. But something better, and far more permanent, happened. Our local newspaper runs a daily online police blotter. It's dry, factual, and gets a surprising amount of traffic from nosy locals. The next morning, there it was. Local woman arrested in jewel theft. Sasha M. Petrova, 29, was arrested Tuesday on charges of grand theft after attempting to sell a stolen engagement ring valued at approximately $30,000. Police were alerted by staff at jeweler's name, who identified the item as property reported stolen by the suspect's ex-fiancée last month. It's just a paragraph, but it's a paragraph that will now be attached to her name in every Google search for the rest of her life. The story spread through our mutual friend groups like wildfire. People who were on the fence, people who might have believed her side of the story, were suddenly confronted with a cold, indisputable fact. She had been arrested. Her social media has gone completely dark. The ring is sitting in an evidence locker. Sasha is out on bail, which I later learned her parents paid for by taking a loan against their car. She has a court date next month. I have been asked to provide a victim impact statement. I have already started drafting it. It will be concise, factual, and completely devoid of emotion. It will be, in short, a perfect final entry for the ledger. Final update. The past few months have been a slow, grinding education in the legal system. Sasha's journey through the courts was exactly what you'd expect for someone so profoundly convinced of their own victimhood. She and her lawyer tried everything. They argued the ring was a gift, a claim dismantled by centuries of legal precedent regarding conditional gifts and her own incriminating text message. They argued I was vindictive, a claim my lawyer countered by pointing out that being vindictive is not a defense against felony theft. Her desperation escalated in tandem with her legal bills. 2 months ago, I got a call from a number I didn't recognize. It was Sasha. Her voice was thin, shaky. The arrogance was gone, replaced by a hollowed-out despair. "Liam," she started, "you can't let this happen. I'll lose my job. I'll have a record. My life will be over." "Your life isn't over, Sasha," I said, my tone as neutral as a dial tone. "But the life you thought you were entitled to, the one built on other people's money and a lack of consequences, that life might be. That's not my decision. It's yours. Please," she begged, and now the tears were coming. "I'll give the ring back. I'll do anything. Just tell the DA you want to drop the charges." "That's not how this works," I said calmly. "First, the ring is already in the state's possession. Second, this is no longer between you and me. This is between you and the people of the state. You committed a crime. I was simply the reporting party. The machine is running, and I have no intention of trying to stop it." "So you are happy with this? Ruining me?" I thought about it for a moment. "I'm not happy, Sasha, but I am satisfied with the outcome. This is a reconciliation, an accounting of your actions. It's the most honest thing that's happened between us in years." I hung up and blocked the number. Faced with a mountain of evidence and a prosecutor who was not impressed by her theatrics, Sasha took a plea deal. She pleaded guilty to a lesser felony charge, theft of property, 2nd degree. The result? 3 years of probation, 200 hours of community service, and a court-ordered restitution payment to me for the full appraised value of the ring, $30,500. The judge was particularly unmoved by her lawyer's portrayal of her as a jilted, emotional woman. As he put it in his summary, this was not a crime of passion. This was a calculated commercial act of greed, planned and executed with a clear mind. I got the ring back from evidence last week. It felt cold and foreign in my hand. It was no longer a symbol of a future I once wanted. It was just a file, officially closed. I took it to a different jeweler on the other side of town and sold it that same day. They gave me $22,000 for it. I used $18,000 to cover the lost wedding deposits. The remaining $4,000 I donated to a local women's shelter. It felt like balancing the scales in some small way. As for the restitution, Sasha has to pay me a minimum of $400 a month until the full amount is cleared. With interest, it will take her almost 8 years to pay me back. Every month for the next 8 years, she will have to write a check that is a direct consequence of that one arrogant text message. It's a far more fitting punishment than jail time. It's a long, slow, unavoidable reconciliation of her debt. I've moved on. I'm in a new city with a new job that I love. I don't think about her often. But sometimes on the first of the month, I see the restitution payment hit my account, and I remember. I remember that every action creates a record, and that sooner or later, every account must be settled. The ledger is now balanced.